Hi there, I'm Spofie, a Lalafell YouTuber, and you may recognize me from Twitch or maybe from my raiding with Nest. I just want to give a disclaimer that these videos are meant as my casual first impressions. If you want something more in depth and honestly well edited, I highly recommend looking below. If you enjoy my vibe, you can find me on Twitch just about every night where I stream. Oh, and everything you see in these videos is subject to significant changes. Welcome to the dungeon video. This video is dedicated to my run through of the dungeon we had access to in the media tour, and that dungeon was the Tower of Zot. I didn't know which dungeon was which, so I really had no idea what to expect going into this, but as you'll see pretty soon, it is cool. So I was healing this party. I mentioned in the healer video I would be running Sage here, and I at this time still did not know how to play Sage. I had not even tested it on a dummy. I figured I would learn as I went, so let's learn together. I'm still very new to a lot of the skill names. I still don't 100% know how to play it and look forward to delving into it more in the actual expansion release. But I'm gonna do my best to at least give you an idea of my thought process as I played through. Now the Tower of Zot I think is our first leveling dungeon because we are synced to 82. I am running this with a couple folks that y'all probably know. One of our DPS was Todd, and our tank was the wonderful Rin Karagani, so y'all might see some of this from their content as well. Now, I did say upon entering this dungeon to pull everything. In the same time that I said to pull everything, I was also attempting to read my abilities. So, you know, I was like, what is Cardia? This must be the heal. I quickly learned that Cardia was the dance partner ability, so I applied that to my tank and tried to get some initial healing on him. As we began to run through the dungeon, I was at a loss for knowing what exactly all my abilities were going to do, but at least I knew to apply Cardia, and then I was like, okay, this is my regular heal. I found the skill that was a bit of mitigation and some healing, and then I was checking out a lot of the skills that I had on my top bar, like Panheima. I quickly found there were a lot of like different instant cast abilities that would provide either some amount of mitigation and shielding, or some amount of increased healing, and I just need to figure out which was which. I also remembered that as long as I have Cardia on Rin, that I'll be healing when I'm attacking, so I was trying out Phlegma as an attack skill. I saw that Toxicon was activated, so I clicked that. I think at this time I still didn't know that the shield breaking is what would give me the Toxicon proc, but I think I figured that out later. But that's the first pull, and then this wiggly, I don't even know what to call it. I'm not gonna lie, the inside of this dungeon kind of gives me the creeps. It's like all these like moving parts, and it feels like you're in like a body. I don't know, it's kind of a weird vibe. So as we were playing, I was trying to kind of get a little bit, I was just like reading tooltips. Obviously you can feel free to pause and check out the tooltips if you'd like to. I'm sure there's going to be other creators videos with better, larger versions of the tooltips so you can see exactly what everything does. Icarus, which I just covered over, is the gap closer. I don't think I actually utilized that much in this dungeon. Like looking back, I could have used that to catch up to my tank a lot easier. I was trying to use Carachol a lot. I believe those abilities use your Adder's Gall, so I was using those. I don't think realizing that they were using my Adder's Gall at the time, but by the end of the dungeon I realized a lot of things. It was sort of that thing where I was like, okay, I'm going to this totally blind, and hopefully we figure out what these abilities do. I'll just cast these AoEs and hope that the things die. Panheima was a big shield on everybody. I believe that is the one that puts, you can see like in the buff bar, Panheima puts that 5 stack buff that's like a shield, and if the shield doesn't, each stack is like a potency shield, and if it doesn't completely break by the end of the timer, everyone receives a heal based on how many stacks are left. Once again, I think towards the beginning of this dungeon, I was just hitting buttons and hoping people were gonna live, but I realized by the end of it that that's what that one did. This is the first boss. First boss was cool. I mean, of course it starts out with some AoEs. I'm pretty sure this one got a bit spicy, so I'll definitely wait a second, let y'all see the boss. I don't want to talk too much right away, so y'all can take a second and listen to some of the boss music and stuff. Of course, I was trying to weave as many of the damage ability in as I could, but I was still really scared. I didn't want everybody to die, and okay, yeah, see, I found Icarus. I was like, oh yeah, let me use the gap closer, but not quickly enough that I actually dodged the AoE. That obviously being the tank buster marker. I think at this point I got a bit more comfortable using my damage ability, because at first I was like, oh no, healing, oh no, what do I do? Is everyone okay? I got a bit of electrocution put on me, so taking a bit more damage. But as you can see, as I'm using the damage ability, the tank who I have the like dance partner type ability on is getting heals from that too, so that is pretty heckin' cool. I think that's my favorite part of Sage. I'd been wanting a healer that would heal off of doing damage, so I was really excited about that. I casted Panheima here. I was like, oh yeah, there's an AoE heal, and then I started taking Eucrasia and kind of using that with the AoE to get the shields out and whatnot. So use some diagnosis for some healing. I guess a big theme of this dungeon is like I wasn't 100% sure how to utilize all of my tools yet. As somebody who plays a lot of healer in this game, I find a lot of the, especially obviously dungeon content and stuff, is pretty easy to heal with all the tools you have in your toolbox. And I don't think Endwalker is going to be any different in that regard. But at this point, since I was kind of just spamming a lot of the abilities I had and not really realizing what they did, I think that's a big part of why I was struggling to keep people alive. Because looking back, like, Sage has a lot of options. I mean, even you can see that on my second bar, that big shield, I could have been placing that on people. Just in general, like I didn't really understand what Pepsis did at that point, so you know. And then on the top bar as well, I know I wasn't using my ability that regens your adder's gall, which are what those little ovular circles on your gauge are, and those are really good for popping off some instant mitigation and healing as well, so I was still getting used to that. I know, the theme of this video is going to be Sophie didn't know how to play Sage, Sophie still doesn't know how to play Sage. I'm not gonna lie, I am just really excited to learn it going into Endwalker and figure out how to play it well, because I didn't at the time feel like I had enough time with it to like really get my head around it, I guess. I'm the kind of person that gets pretty overwhelmed when I try to like look at all the tooltips at once, and I need to like take things one by one and kind of like work through it over the course of doing, you know, some basic dungeons and stuff a few times before I really get the hang of it. So, but this was a lot of AoEing. I was excited because I don't know if y'all see the raining, like that rain with all the pretty lights. That's my AoE. Oh, I love it. I am terrible with all the names. It's like dyscrasia or something. Yeah, the names of the Sage abilities are gonna take some getting used to as well. But now it gets really gross in this dungeon. Look at this. It's like the inside of like an intestine or something, but like with spikes. Big concern. Did not like. I think I was hovering Panheima there because I was like still trying to read it. I was like, what does this do? What the heck does this do? And learning what the I believe the abilities that end in Chol, or at least some of them, are the ones that actually use your Adder's Gall, which I kind of understood as it went on. I think this might be the first time that I let Rin die. No, wait, it's going okay so far. Oh, he used Super Bolide. Oh no, I think I freaked out when he used Super Bolide too. I was like, you're dying! And then I got the Toxicon proc, so I was pretty stoked about that. Which once again, you get those adder stings, those little pointy gauge ones, when you put a shield on the tank or on it, you put a shield on people and it breaks. When that shield breaks, you get those stacks, and then you can use Toxicon with those stacks, which I was still figuring out. But when I learned that, it was really cool because I wished at the time I didn't realize that I was going to be proccing Toxicon so much. If I had realized, I would have put it on a much more easy to hit. Like I probably would have just put it on my 4 key. You can see my 4 key is just open and wanting, and I could have just been spamming it, which would have been awesome for DPS. I mean, sometimes your best defense is good offense. Obviously, I let Rin die here. I was freaking out. I was like, oh no. With all these stacks I have, I was trying to spam shield him. Now I was like, oh gosh, let me res him. Keep in mind, I didn't have my hotbars all set up, so I was just kind of like clicking around too, getting like not 100% sure what buttons were on what. So at this point, I think I'm just shielding myself. I'm using all my like different instant cast abilities. The ability that is akin to Essential Dignity, you saw go off a second ago. I was spamming the shield on myself. I was spamming just about every ability that I could instant cast as I ran back screaming to the party. They told me to stay alive, so I was like, okay, I'm alive. Look how cool it looks though, actually. Like those instant cast shields. So cool. The amount of I honestly think Sage is going to be a really fast healer to play. And I think that's something that I really like about it. It's something that made it more difficult to learn up front. But in similar ways that I felt about Astrologian when it first came out, it just feels like a job with like a lot going on compared to like something like White Mage or even Scholar, for example. There's a lot of different buttons and a lot of different like buffs and stuff you can combine to do some really cool stuff. So I am big excited to level Sage going into Endwalker. So as we're continuing into this, I will say, and you may have noticed it going into it, I'm hovering over Pepsis right now. That ability I used wrong basically throughout the entire dungeon. Basically what the ability does is when you have shields on people that you've used Eucrasia on your like prognosis and diagnosis to enhance, it removes them and heal. It's kind of like emergency tactics for Scholar, but more proactive than, yeah, you have to like put on the shields first. So I had been using it and then you'd see like a dodge, like Pepsis dodge, because he didn't actually have the effect on us, so he didn't get the heal. But hey, now I know, so I'll know going in, and y'all will know because I just told you. Also, side note, I realized post making this video that I don't think I had the ability Dyscrasia on my bar. It's like this really cool looking hot pink tooltip that you'll probably see in other creators' videos. It's an AoE. I just didn't put it, I must have forgotten to put it on my bar or something, which is why you don't see me use it, because it was not on my bar, so I didn't think about it or look at it. But this is the second boss. So now we're starting the second boss, and I really did not know what to think going into this one, but you know, who knows? We'll just carry on with it, you know? So a lot of, I assumed falls around boss bad damage AoE. I did not know at first why everybody was glowing red, but I figured, okay, maybe they got hit by it. Luckily, even if you get hit by it, some vulnerability, not too big a deal. Just kind of used a lot of my AoEs. As you can see, I kind of got into the habit of just spamming the Adder's Gall consuming abilities whenever people were dying, and it kind of worked, but at the time I didn't really know 100% what I was doing. But Carachol, which consumes 1 Adder's Gall to reduce damage taken by self and party members by 10%. And it kind of applies regen, is one that I found myself using a lot. It consumes 1 of those Adder's Gall stats. Most, I think, if not all of the abilities in Chol consume your Adder's Gall, like Ixachol and Carachol. Ixachol was another one that I used a lot. It gives you your MP back and it's just like an AoE 400 potency insta heal. So that one's pretty nice too. It feels kind of like an indom basically. So I obviously got hit by the AoEs as well here. Took some vulnerabilities. It was pretty scared by that pink cluster and ran away because I didn't want to die. But it was okay. It's time to heal. You'll also see, I think throughout the dungeon, I think I realized this pretty early, that the ability Zoe doubles the potency of your next heal. And I tried to utilize that. I think oftentimes I would try to utilize it when I was just panicked, so I wasn't really 100% sure how to use it, but anyway, back to the boss. I didn't really get this boss, and I don't mean that in like it was really tough kind of way. It was kind of like a, why are my friends transformed into these characters? I don't know, let's just kill the ads. We got hit by a couple AoEs, but it wasn't really that dangerous. I found the first boss was a lot more frightening in terms of some of the damage and mechanics that it threw out there, so it was alright. I found myself being able to spam a lot more doses without feeling absolutely terrified during this boss, so not a bad thing, I guess. Actually throw out some damage. At this point, maybe getting a bit more comfortable with my abilities, so I'll be going over a lot of this footage on my stream as well too, with the tooltips pulled up as well, because I do kind of want to really go in depth with kind of my learning process a bit more. I'm sure you can tell I'm really inexperienced with recording YouTube videos, so I know that my thoughts are going to kind of jumble together a bit, and what I'm more comfortable with is live streaming format, so hopefully if y'all pop by there the night that this releases, October 13th, that evening, entire stream is going to be dedicated to chatting about footage and chatting about all things Endwalker and Media Tour. So please, if you're watching this the morning of the 13th, feel free to stop by then. Also, spoilers, I'm pretty sure Red is totally gonna die here. I know he dies one more time in this dungeon. Oh, there it is. I was like, no, he's hurt. I don't even think he pulled that many, but this big old dude was hurting, and I don't think I was ready for it. I think I was like I was like, oh yeah, this is easy peasy. That boss was easy peasy. My guard was down, so I was just trying to use some AoE abilities here. I saw that the enemies were low, but no, it wasn't gonna happen. We were gonna have to restart that one and start that pull again, but it's okay. Little Sage Lalafell tried her best, so we took the shortcut back to the second boss and went on our merry way back to that pull. I will say, the music, oh my goodness, I love the boss music. One of my favorite things about Final Fantasy XIV is the music, and Endwalker is not disappointing so far. Oh my fucking goodness. I was kind of trying to take any moment I had in between pulls to read tooltips because I didn't read my tooltips before the dungeon. I'm one of those, like, I know some of y'all are gonna scoff, but I'm one of those learning by doing people. I try to learn by do, not in random parties. Like if this was me, either I go with friends or I go with trusts who are totally okay with me learning with them, you know? I'm not about to queue into DF and be like, I haven't read any of my tooltips. Good luck, everybody. But it really is just a more fun process for me to kind of learn on the fly. So I try to put myself in situations where people are okay and consent to me doing that and struggling along the way, you know? It wasn't too bad though. I think overall this dungeon took us about 25 minutes, maybe a little less, which better than your average trust dungeon, you know? They did mention that they improved trust a bit. I'm going to talk about that more in my miscellaneous video, which will be coming up as the next video, so y'all will get to hear a bit more about that then. You know I gotta stop for the treasure coffer. The coffers, as you might have seen the little potion thing pop up, we didn't get any of the gear, which I was really sad about because I wanted to see the glamour. I get so excited about the leveling dungeon glamour and seeing what they are, but no. All of the treasure coffers in this dungeon along the way and on the bosses were potions. I think Rin was like, oh, we just died. Are you sure you want a big pull? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna rescue you. Let's go. Don't do that, by the way. Don't do that to any tanks that you do not know. Do not randomly rescue them. Also, apologies if you hear my cat meowing in the background. He does not like when I'm on my computer outside of scheduled stream time, so he is yelling at me. So I think at this point I really had gotten a bit more of a hang of it. I was using Toxicon a bit more. I was more comfy leaving in the shielding and actually using, I wasn't, see here, you can see I say right as he's about to die. I think he actually super bolides here, which was awesome. I had 3 stacks of adders staying at this point. And I really should have just spammed Toxicon, I feel like. Because you can see on my gauge, I have all 3 of those adder sting stacks. It's so funny watching this back because even now I already know more about Sage than I did at that point. So I'm like, what are you doing, Sophie? What are you doing with this job? It's okay. We're all gonna learn and figure out how to do this together. So final boss time. I was like, ooh, well, what's gonna happen here? So we start out, we pull that first boss. At this point, I learned how to put my DOT up. I'm like, ah, yes, there's no DOT button. We got to enhance our normal doses and get Eucrasian doses. I put up a Eucrasian prognosis for the shield. Yeah, we're learning the names now. We got this. And then I was really surprised because I was like, what are these bosses? Why are there more bosses? We were literally in the Discord call at this point, like, okay, are we supposed to kill all these at the same time? Are we supposed to focus one of them down? Okay, that's definitely a stack. Okay, I took that solo, but I'm not dead, so that's awesome. But I think we decided to focus this one down a bit. I was just trying to dot them all, I think. So I was like, yeah, that's helpful, right? I'll just dot them all and put shields up and run around and hopefully not die. So I know I used Zoe to heal up our Tonk there. I was trying to use Toxicon. Once again, I'm sitting at 3 adder sting stacks. So I really should have been using Toxicon more. I think that's like my biggest regret post this dungeon is that I did not have Toxicon on an easier to access ability button, because that is such a cool thing that when your shield breaks, you can spam that. Ooh, I just got hit by some damage there. I was like, I'm just gonna heal through this. It's okay. It's okay. AoE shield, we're okay. That was me the whole time. We're okay. We're okay. Don't worry. It's gonna be okay. It was fun. It was a really, really, really fun dungeon experience. Oh, good golly goodness. Our Black Mage got down to like 1 HP there. They might as well have used Super Bowline. But the bosses slash ads just kind of kept going to this triangle formation. And we figured, okay, let's just kill one of them and see if that's an issue. So we were working on this one over here. I was trying to dot all of them because I just figured, you know, gotta work on that sage damage, you know. Oh, jeez. And I was mainly at this point just using Crazian Prognosis here and there to keep the team awake. And then for single target healing, I was trying to use the one that's on my Control N3 that I think is called Torrential. I'd have to look back at the tooltips. I believe it's called Torrential. That increases healing on the tank and also gives them a bit of mitigation. I like that one. I like that ability. Zoe to prognosis myself for some extra healing. It's all good. And then of course when I'm doing damage, I'm also healing our tank because they have the Cardian dance partner ability thingy on them. So it was very nice. I was starting to feel like I was getting the hang of it at this point, which was nice. Starting. It was definitely a work in progress. I think at this point we were concerned we'd have to kill them all at the same time, so I was attacking the one with the highest health just in case. I don't think you have to though. I don't think anything ever hinted that you did. Like this one didn't die. Like when you get this one to low health, it just sits there, you know? I think they all end up dying around the same time, but if you get one of them to 0 HP first, it doesn't really hurt you. Oh, that one did end up dying eventually too. I guess when it went back to the triangle formation. So yeah, as far as I'm aware, you don't have to kill them all at the same time, but maybe once we get back into this dungeon on release, if someone tries to just burst down one of them, maybe that'll be problematic. We kept them all fairly even, so it was kind of hard to tell. And finally, we got that LB, so we were like, yeah, hit that LB button. Ba-bwam bwam. And it was all good. I had a whole lot of fun in the Tower of Zot. I hope y'all had fun watching my experiences through it. I apologize if I got at all rambly there, but it was a lot of fun. My next video, like I said, will be just about miscellaneous observations and stuff that I wanted to check out in particular outside of the, you know, just checking out the jobs and the dungeon we had access to. So I definitely invite y'all to watch that video with me. And of course, come check out my Twitch tonight if you want to go parse through that raw footage with me. Thank you. Goodbye, friends.